On today's show,
After a win in Toronto, the Bulls rule the East.
we discuss if Derrick Rose should be criticized for his recent comments on playing hurt.
And will Courtney Lee's late game heroics take the #1 spot in this week's top 10?
It's Friday, November 14th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to the starters. Whether you're watching live online or catching us on NBA TV, very happy you've joined us. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, it's Taz Mellis.
Was good for the Bulls, wasn't good for the Raptors last night.
To my right, starters blog editor Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
And finally, our own international man of mystery, it's Lee Ellis.
Girls.
Lele.
Lele, yes. Let's get right into it because we have tons we want to get to on tonight's show. The Bulls and the Raps. Very strange still to me seeing a Raptors game in Toronto on TNT. A quick look at the standings after last night's games. Heading into this one, the Bulls were 6-2, the Raps were 7-1. They had the best record in the East. We're all tied up now. Both teams 7-2. It was an entertaining game. Like most basketball games, ups and downs for both squads, but it was that third quarter where the Bulls just dominated the Raps.
Yeah, I think the Bulls showed who the best team in the Eastern Conference is. The Toronto Raptors just weren't up to the challenge. It sure seemed like. The Bulls were just phenomenal. Both sides of the ball, you mentioned it, Skeets, great first half. I was a little disappointed with how the Raptors played that third quarter. Obviously, the Bulls' offense has improved, but I just didn't like how Kyle Lowry, their leader, was a little frustrated and didn't really take on that leadership role. They just
kind of took him out of the game. He was getting so frustrated.
Yeah, they just weren't ready for their biggest game, since the playoffs against the Brooklyn Nets, and they weren't ready to take the throne of the Eastern Conference leadership or that title that some people are preemptively giving them for some reason, prematurely giving them at the, this very early in the season to say that the Toronto Raptors are the best team in the Eastern Conference. I mean, it's way too early, and they showed yesterday Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan weren't ready to lead this team. It was a little disappointing watching him do that because his team is looking at him, I'm speaking specifically about Kyle Lowry, looking at him to take that leadership role, and he wasn't ready to do that.
Look, I'm Lowry's #1 fan,
Of
obviously
course,
Raptors
that's
fan,
why-
but I don't think, I'm not putting this by any means on Lowry, what he did or his lack, and DeMar shot the ball poorly. I'm giving all the credit in the world to the Bulls. You're right, I was wrong in the Crossfire segment earlier this week. They're much better right now, as it is. Their bigs dominated them. Absolutely crushed them.
Yeah.
Pau Gasol was the main guy, just abusing any guy that the Raps put on them.
They did throw different looks at him as well.
And that's what is, I mean, it's tough not to think, and I know the Cavs will get into the conversation, but right now the Bulls have an offense.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part. This team doesn't have to get a stop every single play to win games now.
Yeah.
They can also do it offensively. You see right now, I mean, one of the better offenses in the league.
And the player they got in Pau Gasol, he's so versatile that he can score. He doesn't have to score. They can use him to pass the ball, or they can use him in the low post like they did last night. He's got that mid-range jump shot. He's just added so much to their offense. It's incredible.
And it came in handy last night after Rose went out to have somebody else that they can just go to get offense, because last year it was all get the ball to the high post, run around a bunch, and hope somebody gets open.
And you see just the change from last year to this year. The points in the paint have increased by about 6 per game. They're taking far less mid-range attempts, 6 attempts less this season, and they're taking way more three-point attempts. So they're in the paint more, they're shooting threes more. That mid-range game has sort of evaporated. It has become a better offense, and they've only played with that starting lineup for 2 games.
That's right. And you were
And they
saying
made
that.
it clear that this is the best team in the Eastern Conference thus far.
I'm still happy that the Raps made a game of it. I thought Lowry sort of was he spearheaded that comeback a little bit.
Yeah, he did.
Made it interesting.
That's why he's their best player. That's why it's all on his shoulders, it feels like.
But they haven't won their games this season just because of Lowry,
No.
outside of the Celtics game.
No,
it's a
DeMar-
deep team. They got a great contribution from James Johnson in the first half, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of other guys I don't think stepped up. DeRozan was forcing things left and right, but again, a credit to the Bulls and Jimmy Butler's
Jimmy
defense. Yeah, he makes it tough for guys.
Jimmy Butler, I mean, I know the Bulls can match any offer they get, but you saw last night as an example why the Bulls are going to have to pay him big bucks, because he was just so good defensively on DeMar DeRozan. I mean, DeMar DeRozan, I was a little disappointed. He only had 4 free throw attempts last night. I like it when he's not getting that. Yeah, I mean, that's his game. He shoots a lot of jumpers, but when it's not falling, you like to see him mix it up and get to the line if he can. But again, just back on Jimmy Butler, because he gives them something offensively as well, but defensively, he's just such a bulldog down there.
Yeah,
Defense
great
is
game.
actually taking a step back for the Bulls a little bit this year. They're not rebounding well, but last night you can see what they can do. Like in the second half, they just turned it up. It made it so the Raptors were trying to play iso ball, and you just can't do that against the Bulls.
Yeah.
They work too well as a unit together, and they're going to get better too because Joakim Noah's still not right. His knee doesn't look totally good.
You're right, but I love seeing a rejuvenated Pau Gasol.
Yeah.
I love it. Like it's been a while
Yeah.
that we've seen this guy can just take over games. And you're right, Lee. I mean, yeah, he can score, but are you gonna send help?
Yeah.
Because they'll pick you apart that way.
And he's not the kind of guy who's going to pout if he doesn't get a few shots either. He's just such a good team player like that because he knows he's going to get his looks at some point.
This is why he picked the Chicago
Yeah.
Bulls. He had other options in Oklahoma City and other places, but he knew he was going to play a big role on this offense, because they desperately needed him to play a role in this offense. And you're right, Skeets. I mean, LA kind of sucked the life out of him.
Oh, yeah.
And understandably so. There was rumors that he was going to be traded multiple times over the years, and this team is just so incredibly deep with Pau Gasol at the 4 spot.
Well, Bulls fans held their collective breath again last night when Derrick Rose exited the game late in this one. It looked like at first it was the ankle again. Apparently it wasn't. Of course, talking to the media and the coaches after saying that he's fine. It was a tweak of the hamstring. It should be minor, to use their words. But Derrick Rose has been in the news all week because of something he said on Tuesday about his long-term health and the way he's been sitting out games. And let's give it to you here. Derrick Rose said, "I know a lot of people get mad when they see me sit out or whatever, but I think a lot of people don't understand that when I sit out, it's not because of this year. I'm thinking about long-term. I'm thinking about after I'm done with basketball, having graduations to go to, having meetings to go to. I don't want to be in my meetings all sore or be at my son's graduation all sore just because of something I did in the past." Twitter exploded. And media pundits, even Charles Barkley last night with Shaq on Inside the NBA before that game, calling the remarks stupid, is what Chuck said. You're not going to believe this. Chuck was speaking his mind. But a little shocking to me, but I'm interested to hear what everyone watching and listening think, and you guys here at the table. Do you question Derrick Rose's commitment to winning, to his team with these remarks?
No, I think he has to be a little hesitant every time he takes the basketball floor. The guy has had 2 major surgeries over the last 2.5 years. And yes, when he says, "I don't want to walk into meetings injured or limping," every fan sits back and thinks, I mean, I don't care about your meetings.
You're right.
I don't care if you're dragging your butt into your quote-unquote meetings, whatever meetings you have. I just want to see you play basketball. So that's all they care about. But at the same time, don't you want Derrick Rose to be a little hesitant, even if you are a Bulls fan? You want him to think about that, right? I mean, you saw when he went down late in the 4th quarter, he has to be worried about his, I don't want to call it fragility, but he's in and out of the lineups.
There are a lot of problems.
This team or this conference is so wide open. You need Derrick Rose. This year, you have the opportunity to win the conference. You need a Derrick Rose out there, so he has to think about his physical being. This isn't a healthy player.
Right. So no one doubts what you're saying there, but maybe it was the way he said it. Is that it?
Yeah.
People were like, "Oh yeah, your meetings in 16 years from now, and your
Because he
graduation."
gives it all when he plays.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's crazy to me about questioning his commitment is to even come back from 2 straight knee injuries and then more injuries the very first time you're setting foot on the court, the 2 seasons after you already blew out your knee twice. That's crazy, just because you have to work so hard to even get back to be able to play in the NBA. And he's a guy that when he's playing, he plays super hard, and the style he plays requires a lot from his body. You're right, he needs to take care of his body. He just said it wrong because Derrick Rose tends to say things a little bit wrong when he's being honest.
People don't like athletes, quote unquote, whining
That's right.
about their health.
Yeah.
Because people think you get paid hundreds of millions of dollars to play a game
Yeah.
that we play all for fun down at schools, when you're in school, at the playground. People don't like that sort of, again, it comes off whiny a
Yeah,
little
they
bit.
think that money solves any problem you have. And while money's nice, but sometimes for these guys, there's more to life than just money.
Look, let's hear what
But
people
it's even
think.
his basketball life that he's
Yeah.
caring
Yeah,
about.
no,
It
I
just
know.
didn't come out that way.
Let's hear what people
He's
think.
got
Jump
meetings.
on Twitter. Hashtag the starter. Yeah, we all have meetings. We're going to get to a meeting. We're going to take a break here. Coming up next, TAS Awards, his worst of the week honors. Is it the Sixers?
It's not Derrick Rose.
It's got to be the Sixers, no? We'll
Nope.
find out when we return.
It is not. Welcome back to the Starters. Now, this is the point of the week where we hand out the dishonor to someone in the NBA family that has done wrong in the eyes of the Starters. It's time for the worst of the week.
Ladies and gentlemen, the worst of the week.
This week's worst of the week is the New York Knicks' J.R. Smith. Sorry to do this to you, J.R. It's happened again. Wednesday night, the Knicks weren't feeling good. They had lost 5 in a row, but there was some optimism. The 2-6 Magic, who had played the night before, were visiting MSG. Now, after a rough first half, the Knicks fought back, but were still down late in the fourth. The only man who was shooting well is this man, Melo. With 4 seconds left, he hit a miraculous 3 to pull the Knicks to within 1. After Evan Fournier missed 1 of 2, it was Melo time. Knicks down 2. 3 seconds left. Ball inbounded to J.R. Smith, 35 feet away from the bucket, as Melo frantically called for the ball from inside the three-point line, directly in J.R.'s line of sight. J.R. chose J.R. instead. He threw up a 27-foot jumper, and Melo, well, he just threw up his hands. J.R. backpedaled as if it had a chance, but the ball went thunk. Off the glass, way left of the hoop. Melo clearly frustrated walking off the floor. He finished the night 10 of 17 when ESPN's Ian Begley asked JR about his choice. JR said, "I think we went with the best shot. I think it was the right shot, and I just didn't make it. If I force that into Melo, what kind of shot is he really going to have? Well, I would guess one that probably would have hit the rim at least." J.R. Smith, your worst of the week. And as we know, J.R. Smith is also the reigning worst of the year title holder for 2013-2014.
Can he repeat?
Oh.
I don't really want to bag on a guy for one shot.
You just did.
I did, yeah. But at the same time, it is only one attempt. At this point of the game, though, there's only one man who is shooting the basketball very well. You've lost that many games in a row. And I think it's just a question with the shooting guard position for the New York Knicks. Who's going to get the minutes there? If you want a shooting guard, this team has got plenty of them. They're starting 2 in Iman Shumpert and Tim Hardaway, but J.R. Smith is available. Tim Hardaway is available. Iman Shumpert, I think, is a little less available, but they've got plenty of options. Phil Jackson has been very open about saying, hey, our guys are available, and I'm willing to move this team around. This team is going to look different in the coming months.
All right, J.R. Smith gets another worst of the week.
Sorry, J.R.
I'm a little surprised, I have to say, that he didn't go with the 76ers because of last night. They lose by 53 points. That's not a typo, guys. They lost by 53 points to the Mavericks. They've had a bad, obviously, start to the season. They're 0-8. They also haven't won a game. You could lump that in. But they were down 38-10 in the first quarter. You know, they shot under 30%, turned it over 27 times.
Charlie Villanueva was on the floor.
I mean, it was laughable. It was laughable. And again, they haven't won a game. It was so out of control in this particular game that people were reading newspapers in the second quarter.
In the middle of the game.
Got to catch up on your news.
Yeah. How's that Dilbert comic? I mean, it's crazy. It really is. And so I'm a little surprised, but you got to start wondering, is this the worst team we've ever seen in history? Because through 8 games to start a season, the scoring margin, they're nearly right there with the 2 worst ever in the 97-98 Warriors and the 88-89 Heat. You know, they're right there.
Were those teams playing for a draft pick?
Oh, man. And then, you know, Lee, you brought this up last week, I guess it was, talking about the worst starts to a season ever. Sixers 0-8. You got a while to go before you catch those Nets of 0-9-10.
They're going to reach double figures, though, because they got the San Antonio Spurs and the Rockets up next. So they're 0-10.
You know, it is crazy. One bright spot, I guess you can call that for the Sixers, Michael Carter-Williams, rating Rookie of the Year. He did make his debut for the Sixers last night. Obviously didn't really matter at all. He took a lot of shots to get to his 19 points. But it's good to see him out there. I'm glad he's out there. But on Thursday, he had an article, or he wrote an article for the Players Tribune as a contributing editor, and he wanted everyone to know that, look, him and his team are trying their best here. Quote, on tanking, on whether the 76ers are tanking, you can question my shooting, you can question my ceiling, just don't question if I'm giving my all every single night. Don't talk to me about tanking. Went on to say, grown men are going to go out and purposely mail it in for a 1-in-4 shot at drafting somebody who might someday take their job? Nope.
Great. Nope.
It's a great article. I recommend you check it out. But I have a problem with it, and it's that no one is saying that the players, that the 76ers, Michael Carter-Williams, whoever's out there for them, that they're not trying. They're going out there and trying to win a basketball game. Have you ever met an NBA player? Have you ever played cards with an NBA player, throw darts? They're the most competitive people in the world, and that's the only reason they're in the NBA.
And their coaches, too. They're trying to go 82-0.
Exactly. But what the problem is their organization. is trying to tank.
And this-
How can you argue it?
This might backfire on the organisation because if these players continue to get humiliated on the floor, they're not going to want to stay around in this team. They're going to want to go elsewhere because no one wants to be part of a team that was like, hey, you guys were the worst team in NBA history.
I think this team does have some camaraderie. I know at this point that they're down in the dumps, but they do have some players that do like each other, that were hanging out together during the summer. Nerlens Noel, Joel Embiid, Michael Carter-Williams, and Dario Saric, their pick, who is playing in Turkey currently. But they were hanging out at the FIBA World Cup tournament, cheering each other on, cheering on Dario Saric as he lost his teeth and came back and played in that tournament. The Philadelphia blue-collar crowd is going to love Dario Saric whenever he comes over.
A couple of years from
They
now.
have
couple of
7
years from
undrafted
now.
players.
It's gotta
Their
happen at
draft
some
picks
point.
aren't
You're
even
right,
playing in the league. They draft guys that are injured or going to stay over.
One more year.
Yeah.
Give him one more year.
One more year. It's 2 years in a row here at this. Madness, yeah, unbelievable loss. Got to take a break. Coming up, where will Courtney Lee's alley-oop game winner fall in the starters' top 10 plays of the week? We'll count them down next. Welcome back to the starters. Skeets, Tass, Lee, and Trey. It's Friday, which means it's time for the starters' top 10 plays of the week. Let's get to number 10. Brandon Jennings versus the Wizards doing the rondo.
Oh,
Well done.
Oh, yeah, you can even
Well
hear
done.
the Wizards crowd going crazy.
Woo, full Garrett Temple there. Yeet.
he's done that a couple of times already.
Yeah, hit and run, I love it.
At number 9, Carmelo Anthony, not shooting, passing. A beauty look to Iman Shumpert.
That's the triangle offense, Tess.
That's where it came. Yeah, that is a cut that they use in the triangle offense. It's true.
At number 8, 2 Kyrie Irving plays. This is very Smitty under the rim right there. Dribbling through traffic against the Nuggets. Whoop,
Who needs a
throws
left
it up.
hand?
And one more.
Oh,
over
yeah.
Aaron Gordon. See you later. Against the Pellies. Was it a travel? Who
cares?
Who cares?
At number 7, DeMar DeRozan with this fantastic 360 layup. Let's show it to you from this angle. Going right into the body and finishing the job there. Just hanging in the air, just chilling. Oh yeah, I'll throw it in as well. Beautiful.
Very, very nice. At number 6, the Manimal is going to devour Wesley Matthews'
Oh, yeah.
layup attempt there.
I love that one.
Lee, you like this one, eh?
I do.
You like a good block.
I love it.
At number 5, Lance Stevenson. Double OT, 2.7 seconds on the clock. A long bomb. It goes down.
Make him dance, Lance.
It went off glass. And then Steve Clifford, head coach of the Bobcats, threw up his hands. Yes, no, oh yeah. And he got on the scorer's table. I do not approve. You didn't bank. You shouldn't be on the scorer's table.
At
Sorry,
number
Lance.
4, Taz, help me out. Knicks guard.
Iman
Very
Shumpert.
nice. With
Knicks,
the
2 top 10
Yeah.
plays?
baseline reverse. Yeah, you think they're
Amazing.
7-2.
They're great.
At number 3, KJ McDaniels. We got a Sixers play. Watch out. Watch out in the second row. Seriously.
Wrong sport. That's
If
a
you're gonna be
volleyball
bad,
play.
at least be entertaining, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
He has been very
He
entertaining.
could have just caught it, you know? No, wouldn't get on. At number 2, back to the Raps, James Johnson. Gonna kill another Sixer here. That's Brandon Davies, I believe. And you know who liked it? Drake in his sheep sweater. Yeah.
Don't cheer too hard. You're going to get hot in there. Number 1, Courtney Lee, game winner for the Memphis Grizzlies on Thursday night. 0.3 seconds left on the clock. You got to tip it in. Why is there no defense
What
there?
the heck?
Courtney Lee with the tip in from Vince Carter.
What a play.
Did the clock start late?
Controversial.
Who knows?
Controversial
I
number 1
don't
play.
understand why you aren't under the rim to guard the rim. It's very confusing, but a beautiful finish by Courtney Lee and Vince Carter.
I mean, they deserve to lose, right? Blew a 26-point lead there.
Twice in.
Tough loss.
Agree, disagree with our top 10? Let us know on Twitter, #TheStarters. One more look, though, at that controversial play here.
Yeah, 0.3
controversial for a
seconds.
couple reasons. Yeah, one, did Ryan Hollins tip it? And if he did,
Yeah.
then game's over.
He thinks he tipped it?
I
think
mean,
he
the
did too.
way the ball suddenly just dies, and why would Vince be throwing it
check
to
it.
that
It's a
spin?
bad- gotta
It's a
check
terrible pass.
It was reminiscent. 2009, Game 2. Courtney Lee had the opportunity to tie the series with the Orlando Magic right at the buzzer of the fourth quarter, and he missed it.
Should have went reverse.
Went to overtime. Lakers won. What a different series it could have been.
I mean, they looked at it, by the way, the one there last night. They
Yeah.
looked at it for 10 minutes at least, trying to determine whether someone tipped it, the clock,
Ryan
and all that.
Hollins
Hollins
said he
didn't
did.
react though. Like he sort of just looked around. You would think he would have been a bit more
He
frantic.
had a
at
good
the
laugh
ref.
with Vince afterwards, saying that he
Yeah,
did.
it was. Yeah.
Tough
He
loss.
played a great 0.3 seconds. Those were his only seconds.
Look good out
That
there.
was it.
Yeah,
that was
only
it.
0.3.
Glad to have him back.
Let's unleash the unicorn. Time for the Starters Fantasy Minute. as we head into the weekend here, some weekend warriors.
Yeah, we call this the Weekend Warriors because we want you to pick up a guy that's playing Saturday and Sunday. You know that there's one spot on your roster you can drop who's not that great. Well, this is the Weekend Golden State Warriors edition because all 4 of these guys playing for the Warriors because they are the only team that is playing both Saturday and Sunday. We've got Harrison Barnes, Sean Livingston, Andrew Barbosa, and Maurice Bates, all available. They're all quite available in your Yahoo League. Now, Maurice Bates doesn't have great numbers this season, so don't be very pumped what he's going to produce for you this weekend. He plays the Charlotte Bobcats on Saturday. He's not going to have a great night. Oh, yeah, the Hornets.
Come on,
Bobcats
Cassie.
or the Hornets, whoever they are. But what you want to pick him up for is Sunday because he had a great game on Thursday. Sunday, he plays the Lakers.
All right.
They allow a lot of buckets in the paint. Maurice Bates will get you those buckets.
Reminder, it's rivalry week here on the starters. Actually, Tass and I are playing each other in a tight one. We got Lee and Trey going head-to-head into the final weekend. We show you this because you might remember earlier this week, you guys bet that the loser would have to dress as the Fantasy Minute Unicorn.
Hope you found a horn, Lee, because
Yes.
you're down 7-2.
Oh,
Not
it
looking
looks like it's
good.
gonna be me.
Not looking good for Lee.
You look good in white, though.
I've never seen an Australian unicorn. I can't wait. All right, final break, but when we return, we go north of the border for Lee's very solid play. Is it the Bulls? Is it the Raps? Can't wait to find out. Come on back. You're watching the starters. Back with the starters, last night's pick and payoff results. Tass gained a game because he went against the Raps. Back the Bulls. Correct. 4-0 for Tass there. I went 3-1. So I'm up 1 game still. Tonight, again, we send in our picks separately. We agree on all 5 games. We like the Magic, the Heat, the Knicks. What's wrong with us? The Thunder, and the Suns. So there you go. Good luck to you, my friend. Lee, time for the very solid play of the night.
Yes, I love this play from the Bulls last night against the Raptors. It starts with Captain Kirk with a bouncy to Joe No underneath the Gibbo for the dunk. Just really, really nice execution, slicing open the Raptors there. Bouncy, bullet, bang. That's what I
Bouncy
call
bullet bang.
a very solid play.
Triple B.
Excellent.
Gibbo.
Gibbo.
Excellent. Lee and
Jono.
we played NBA Rebus yesterday on the show. If you haven't checked it out, check it out on Twitter or on our Facebook. But we had some people send some in.
Yeah, this one came in from Poland as well, from fan Matt Martel. He sent in 3 of his own Rebus. So if you guys can quickly get through these, who do you think that is?
Steve Blake.
Steve Blake, yes. The next one is a little bit more in-depth. That's
Jay Leno, minus O. Jalen.
Jalen
Jalen Rose. And the
Rose.
last one you should get, it's very, very easy. Very clever as well. That's
Oh, that's a Trey Kirby.
That's right.
Wow,
Excellent
good
job.
stuff.
Excellent
Rebus,
job,
I'm
Matt
in
Martel.
Rebus.
Yes.
Keep sending in the Rebus, guys. A great week, a blast, guys. We recorded our hour-long podcast this morning. It's called The Drop. Check it out on iTunes or on the blog. And we'll be back on Monday to recap the NBA weekend.
Yes, looking forward to that. Thank you so much for joining us today. And remember, surprises get old.
Embrace the night, people.
You don't like surprises, though.
Bring in the cake.